Thank you guys for sharing and being so open. And I would love for you over the next 2 days or next 3 days to be as open and honest with all aspects of where you are sitting in this crazy landscape that we're all in. So to go into what our weekend is going to look like, and also, you know what, before I go into what our weekend's gonna look like, because you have the extended detailed, super detailed agenda. This is part of my business thing with this super detail. And Micah, of course, supporting me for that. I know trucks and all kinds of things making noises, sirens going off. It's okay. That's how we just deal. Before we do that, I'll just share a little bit about my background and then also how the weekend will look, and then I'll dive into what I use and even how I continue to learn, shift, and evolve in this process. Because again, it's constantly changing, and I swear it's changing so much faster than it was 2 years ago. Yeah. So my personal background, I have a marketing and communications degree, undergrad, and then I have an MBA, a master's in business in organizational behavior. And I worked for a very short amount of time. This is like my non-yoga life. Some people know it and some people don't, but I worked for a very short time for a radio station right out of college doing marketing work. I was so sick. It was 6 months of living hell. So I was like, because I was a peon, I was like, I just want to be on the air. And no, there wasn't any of that. You're not a DJ or anything. So I did what I do best. I did communications work, and it was fun. We did lots of like engagement. We did lots of outdoor engagement where we were showing up in the community and the radio stations there, and we're talking to people and bringing people in. It was like old school grassroots marketing. That's exactly what it was, and it worked really, really well. We can just throw up a billboard on. This was in the 90s, y'all.
Yeah.
Okay. Billboards worked. People weren't looking at their cell phones. That made it so easy, right? You drive in, you're like, oh yeah, 97.7's throwing a community party in the park on Saturday. Oh yeah, I'm going because I want some free stuff. Oh, we might see DJ La La La. So it was on point, right? Then from there, I moved into doing marketing and social behavioral change for, I know everybody, people didn't know all this, for the state of Louisiana. And it was around the HIV/AIDS epidemic, right? Again, still the 90s. And the big thing that we were doing as well, grassroots. And so we would collaborate, or in one of my roles, I was one of the coordinators, and we would collaborate with communities around the state to figure out how we could reach people in innovative ways. And so for the health department, it was this constant engagement of listening. And I think that's probably one of the main pieces that I've learned, is that aspect does not change. Like there are certain things that are constant and then certain things that change. But the one thing that is forever constant is you have to listen to the people that you're trying to reach, or you think you're trying to reach. You have to be willing to sometimes go out of your way and sometimes be in the uncomfortable and find out exactly what they need. That's one of the things that I would say when it comes to social media. If you know, I know most of you guys follow me, sometimes I will just throw up a question in the IG story and go, what do you guys want to see? And then I get this laundry list of stuff in my DMs, right? DM. I'm like, oh God, okay. Thank you, everybody. Got it, right? Or, you know, here at the studio, we sometimes communicate with our students. You know, we're listening to the conversations that they're having between each other, you know, totally eavesdropping, ear hustling. And then we also will ask if there's a new teacher, or you took a teacher's class, like, how did you enjoy it? What did you like about it? What did you not like about it? Right, so it's like this, that is like the constant. the part that doesn't apply now that I was doing back in the day, and that again, in the 90s, social behavior change and social marketing, that's what social marketing was called then. Now it means something totally different. We would actually go into communities, and once we listened to them, we would actually go in and design programs. We would do grassroots stuff. So we would do street parties and collaborate with the radio station, because I was like, well, radio stations do a really good job, right? I would tell my boss, she's like, well, we don't want to get too much in the hip hop thing, I'm like, but we're trying to change behavior of teenagers, right? We need to pull in some non-traditional partners into what we're doing. So people that are out there doing work, just doing it in a different way, people that are reaching the ones that we want to reach. So I did that for a couple of years, and then I decided I want to live in DC. And I want to do this marketing and communications nonprofit work on a national level. So that's what I did. I moved to DC, worked with the Centers for Disease Control for a while, and with that we did marketing. Again, it always comes back to my marketing communications work, and also education with businesses. So we worked directly with businesses, human resource departments, to help them implement HIV/AIDS programs and educational programs into their normal, like, HR orientation sessions, just to remove stigma and discrimination. That was the main goal. And it was fun, it worked, it was also boring. From there, I transitioned into doing training with the National Minority AIDS Council. And what we would do is actually go out and train nonprofits on how to design or redesign. We'll help them redesign their programs. So we would go in, again, listen to the clients, not just talk to their board, which was great, because we would go in and like, okay, Faith, I'm here for an entire week. I want to find out what's going on in your organization so I can write this long paper, right, around what you need to do. And I would sit down with the executive director, and they would schedule all these meetings for me, for people to meet. We'll, go through the program directors, maybe talk to one or two coordinators, of course, talk to some board members, and then they would go, okay, so what do we need to do? I'm like, well, I need to talk to some of your clients. Can I go out with your HIV educators tonight, because they're going down and passing out condoms and all that other stuff? I want to go see how they're communicating and what they're really doing. And then I can make my assessment. Because the bigger organization that's sitting there, if the executive director and the board members don't really know the messages that the actual active coordinators or even sometimes volunteers are actually doing, what their dream is, or what their mission is, or even what they are putting in their grants and saying that they're going to do, but then the outcome from the evaluation and the results still aren't having an impact, they're probably not having an impact because you have no idea what the community really needs. Listening, again, is key and essential. So from there, I was like, okay, I'm done with HIV and AIDS, and I'm going back to music. So I ended up moving to New York and working for EMI Record Company for a very short period of time. I missed my nonprofit days, to be totally honest. And so I started doing that part-time with a couple of organizations in New York, and then I was like, nah, what am I really passionate about? What has been consistent in my life over the course of time? This thing called yoga. And that was 2003 when I decided to become a yoga teacher. From 2003 to now, the landscape of yoga has we all know it's expanded like crazy. I mean, it definitely is a billion-dollar industry right now. Everybody, their mama, their papa, their cousin, even if they don't practice yoga, know yoga, they know a down dog, and they know a tree pose. They may not do them, They know a yoga mat. They know, oh yeah, those yoga pants. No, I can't stretch, right? Or they're like, yes, that is my thing and my jam, right? But it's in everyone's mind and psyche, yeah? There's a reason that's in everyone's mind and psyche. And part of that has to do with communication. Everybody's communicating. Either companies and brands are constantly putting out, even in movies, right? That's a form of communication and messaging. And so when you look at yourself as an entrepreneur or a business entity, what message are you putting out about you? And what message are you putting out about your business and the services that you provide? Yeah, makes sense?